Yes, we were talking about breast cancer under 40, and people, because this is a podcast, they may not be seeing your image. It's you. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
So I was 27 when I was diagnosed. It came as a massive shock because my auntie, she had breast cancer when she was 41, and she has two daughters. And so I was aware of the breast cancer in our family, as well as I have two maternal great aunts that had breast cancer. So I was aware of the family history, but I thought, well, if it's not my mum that had breast cancer, I'll be fine. And I also don't need to worry about it until I start getting mammograms when I'm 40.
Yeah.
And that was very, very naive of me to think that. But you're not taught anything else. So honestly, it's just lucky that I went to get the symptoms that I was having checked. I actually wasn't going to ask about it because I do also have a autoimmune brain disease, and I was told so many times by doctors, you're making it up, you're making yourself do this. I was dismissed, and I think a lot of it does have to do with my age and the fact that I'm a woman. And I've had that from many other women that I've had conversations with. So I wasn't actually going to bring these symptoms up. And it was when I went to get a contraceptive injection one day, and my poor nurse, I just blurted out all of these symptoms, and she got my doctor to come and check. He couldn't find a lump. And then after I went to get a mammogram and ultrasound that same day, the next day I got a call saying there was abnormalities. And then after one failed biopsy and then a stereotactic biopsy, I was diagnosed with high-grade DCIS with necrosis. So basically, that's the most aggressive form. My cancer was growing so quickly that it was dying to make room for new cancer cells. And between my lumpectomy and my double mastectomy, I had almost 11 centimeters of cancer removed from my left breast. And I've been told multiple times by doctors they don't know how they didn't feel a lump, and they don't know how it hadn't become invasive. So it just, I still honestly can't get my head around it. The fact that I was diagnosed with breast cancer and what a large tumor I had. But then also, I know we've spoken about this before, the other things that come with being diagnosed with DCIS and being told that you don't have cancer. So it's been a bit of a, you still are getting dismissed. And after everything I had already been through, I just thought, no, I've had enough of this. I'm not going to be dismissed anymore. So that's basically where things started on my Instagram page and how we met.
DCIS is, for the people at home, ductal carcinoma in situ, and it's stage 0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, I can see where the dismissal of other people and doctors will come from. Not will come from, that's ridiculous. I mean, oh, it's stage 0, oh, it's localized, it didn't go anywhere. I mean, no.
I think they're being reassuring, but it's not. It's definitely dismissive, and the knowledge that is around DCIS, it seems to me that women in the breast cancer community have more knowledge about DCIS than a lot of doctors that I've met. Which is very interesting. And one thing that I really think is important is that doctors start to listen to women who have been through it a lot more than just reading a textbook, because people are not textbooks. I've not met one woman that has had the same kind of breast cancer, the same kind of treatment. Your cancer is individual as you are.
What symptoms did you have? I just ask this for awareness for other people to
So I had for quite a while, actually, I had rib pain on the left side, and my doctor thought that I had dislocated my rib, and I went to a chiropractor, and then it just wouldn't go away. And then I started to also develop pain from my underarm down in my breast towards my nipple. And it was like a feeling of fullness and something was blocked, almost like what someone with mastitis would feel. I then started to get inverted nipple. I had discharge from my nipple, and then just before I was diagnosed, my nipple became extremely sensitive and it was almost burning when I touched it. They were my main symptoms. As I said, I didn't have a lump, and the message out there is to look for a lump, but there are so many other symptoms that you have to look for. And a lot of the time you'll hear, well, if you have pain, it's not breast cancer, but that's just not true. So I think anything that's irregular with your breast, go and get it checked. And a lot of the time, women under 40 will be told that they can't have a mammogram. They have to go back time after time and say, please, can you give me a mammogram? But you have the right to request that for your own body, for your own peace of mind. So if you feel like something is wrong, you can ask for an ultrasound, you can ask for a mammogram, and do whatever you need to do to find out what is going on with your breasts.
So, I mean, it's very alarming to me. You had these symptoms and you didn't look for a doctor because you were scared you were going to be dismissed. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And my GP is amazing, but it's just the fear that I've had in the past of being dismissed that was coming in now saying, no, you're being a hypochondriac. There's nothing wrong with you. You're overreacting. It's just hormones. You're due for your contraceptive injection. Like, you think of every possible thing except for, wait a minute, maybe I need to get this checked out. And if women a lot of the time have very good intuition about their bodies, and if you feel like something is wrong, then you should get it checked. It doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And then there's the other cases where there's no symptoms even, or there's no lump, and that happens a lot with lobular, which develops differently, I believe. And it can be found in mammograms and ultrasounds even. It's very difficult. So it definitely is a world. There's a world out there of ways this can manifest in your body, but it's like you were saying, it's actively engage with your body, actively listen to it. Even if I started my breast exams at medically exams at, I want to say, my early 30s. Because they're very dense. There's a lot of dense tissue, etc. So they encourage that, and I started mammograms before I was 40. So I was lucky with that. But regardless, it doesn't show in what I had. Didn't show in mammograms. So they found it. It was a fluke. They found it in an MRI.
Sometimes it's, and that's the thing. There are other ways than just a mammogram to find cancer. Pardon me. And a lot of the time, if a doctor doesn't want to give you a mammogram, you can ask for an ultrasound or an MRI. And there's actually, I'm not sure about over where you live, but over here, there's a 3-step rule that doctors are meant to follow, which I've just recently discovered that they rarely follow. So there's meant to be a breast exam done at the doctor's office, then following that a mammogram or ultrasound, and then following that a core needle biopsy, and that is regardless of what age you are. So those 3 steps should be followed. And I think if women go into a doctor's office with that knowledge, knowing that this is what protocol doctors are meant to be following, they can advocate for themselves a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and know that if you are called to do a biopsy, it can be nothing. It's
Absolutely.
okay. I've
Yes.
had the two types where it's okay and where it's not okay, but it exists. It's happened to me. It is out there. And it's funny you mentioned that 3-step process, because that's one of the first posts I made on breast cancer on Instagram, because like you, I was appalled to realize that not everyone knows, and not if you're asked to do a mammogram, and you shouldn't despair. You shouldn't get in a panic. It's
no.
they just want to check.
Exactly.
And it's good